Hey guys, welcome. This is the video diary for day 3 of the Accelerated Awakening men's retreat here at New Eden. A very profound day. So much occurs. These days often feel like, to me, as if entire lifetimes can exist in a single day. So it's almost like as I track back and go, well, what can I share with you about today? I'm often like, where do I start? But I don't even remember the beginning of the day. It feels like a lifetime ago. Let me just tune in and feel into, like, what do I want to share? Perhaps I start at the end and work my way back. So one of the big themes that came up with the men at the end was around the need that often men feel around their women, them being needy for their love, needy for their connection. And it's a need that comes from a young, traumatized, or an insecure attachment. And it's usually unspoken, and it creates this codependent tether that often women will consciously or unconsciously resist, reject, push back against. And so there was a beautiful conversation and resonance with the group of men in relationship to this topic of how are we codependent with women? Where are we still tethered to the parental love that we seek? And where does that then create in us this feeling of like, wow, I'm so attached and in need that I'm now resenting the fact that I'm imprisoned by this emotional hook and I'm no longer free. And then there's this resistance to commitment, because if I commit, what will I have to endure this suffering? And yet being away from it is the fear of losing that love, losing that connection. So there was this deep exploration of the trauma bond that comes from insecure attachment and the codependent dynamics of men needing women. Now, I know this goes both ways, but of course, as I'm in a men's retreat, we're feeling the impact of these dynamics playing out. And the revelation that to work on these dynamics is not a one-off thing. It's not like, I've done that, I've gone on the mat, I've taken space for that, I've processed that, I've taken therapy for it, and now that's gone. This idea that we work on something and then the issue is resolved. This is one of the most unhealthy, toxic thoughts in the personal development industry that I could possibly imagine. Is this idea that things can be tapped away, energetically cleared, and then we're done and complete. The soul contract's ended, and now we return to healthy norms without having to continually practice or be in a place of awareness of certain patterns and themes and default shapes that our nervous system takes when we're not conscious or working on ourselves. It's like the get-rich-quick scheme for personal development. It's like there's an easy way to find a bunch of money and then you'll never need to work again and you can earn passive income and then your dreams can all come true. It's that promise, right? And people are so seduced by it and they'll spend money and take courses. And the personal development version of that is those who offer like quick healing, or this idea that, yeah, do this process, we'll clear this out, the trauma's gone, the work is done, this issue won't resolve, take this medicine, take this pill, take this thing, do this technique, and then voila, you're complete, nothing more is needed. And I find myself feeling very fiercely protective of the real deal that requires work. Sorry. And so there's the bad news around it, right? That there is a consistent practice that's required to hold the shape of a new nervous system that has been embattled and set at a very young age to be, quite different, contorted, contracted. And it's not going to be easy to suddenly just take on a new shape and for that shape to set and last. It requires brotherhood and sisterhood and support and consciousness and a relating culture of practice where we continually meet up against these aspects of self that aren't just going to disappear overnight. And we will make strides and steps and we will expand and become more conscious and aware and we will grow and mature. And yet, I find the young, immature need of thinking that all things are going to be resolved in 1 week or in one session or one thing, and I'm looking for the fix. Donald Epstein, in his book, The 12 Steps of Healing, I believe it's called, spoke about this as quite an early stage in the spiritual maturity, that we polarize our problems and solutions. So we feel that there's something wrong with us, and then we seek a savior. It could be like this retreat, this guru, this medicine, this technique, and we split from the part of us that is having the problem, because we haven't yet seen that we're an integrated being, that there isn't us and the problem, or the problem and the solution. There isn't a split there. That is all part of the illusion. So in Heart AQ, we bust these myths. We don't spend the whole week in emotional processing trying to solve problems, trying to resolve emotions, because the more emotions you resolve, the more emotions that emerge. The more issues you look for, the more issues you find. And so we need to become conscious to move the process away from circle becoming an emotional processing space, but instead becomes a space where we practice expanding into who we can and who we are, and to celebrate the natural evolution of our soul and how to embody new ranges, new frequencies, and to get imprints from other men, and to initiate and have rites of passage to claim more of what's already here and just waiting to be integrated. Rather than, I've got this issue and I need to deal with this and I need to deal with that, and I've got this pain and this trauma and this. And suddenly if we start following the pain just circles around. But if we follow our joy, yes, pain can come up and we meet it for sure. But there's something different when we focus on the open systems, when we focus on how can we bring love into this, rather than focusing on the blocks and the issues and all the problems and stuff like that. So that was really a powerful afternoon to reorientate, reshift, refocus the circle to these dynamics. And it was revelationary for a lot of the guys to kind of like, oh yeah, I need to reframe really my healing process from the ground up. Now this morning, there was this profound father wound space taking. A man was so activated, ready to go. He was just boom. And he went on the mat, and there was an invitation for somebody to represent his father. But the first couple of people he asked, they rejected and said no. And it was perfect that they said no, because the third person was the absolute right person that came in, and there was this incredible meeting point. It turned into this collective sacred temple where a lot of the men got to be met with that divine father frequency. And I think this is another part that is very important. Again, there's a theme here, right? That often men that feel that they missed something, like they didn't get the father love that they craved, there's a seductive thought that goes, well, I need to now get that. But the problem is that if your father didn't give it to you, and perhaps they've passed, they're dead, or perhaps they're just not in that place in their life where their heart is open. They're just not, it's not who they are. We can be bashing and pulling and craving and yelling and screaming to the heavens and wanting that, and yet it's not going to come. And then we'll look for it in replacements. We'll look for role models, reference points, imprints, and we'll seek gurus or teachers or friends or people that we can like source that thing that we're looking for. Again, it's a codependent, you have something that I need. And what brotherhood as a tribe can offer is a frequency of fatherhood, fatherly love, fatherly touch that doesn't replace what they lack, but can now give them and nourish and resource in the present moment. Sorry, Siri's coming in with a... Does that make sense? So if we start to look for one person to be the source of that and we don't get it, we can build resentment. But if we start to open ourselves up to like, my God, I might not be able to go back in time and recreate what I needed, but I can in this present moment open my heart to receiving the frequency of this fatherly energy without having it come from my father. I don't need to recreate my dad. I just need to be open to the love of that frequency. And when we start to depersonalize and open to frequency, we are able to receive transmissions from our ancestors generationally and start to feel the tribe and the collective love. And it's profound. And this, again, is tying into the theme of breaking down these illusions of how healing should happen. So those are a few reflections and thoughts of what occurred today. Is by no means all of it, but I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that. And yeah, super enjoying my time here. I'm absolutely loving this retreat. What a great band of brothers, and blessed with beautiful weather, beautiful food, beautiful New Eden. And tomorrow we have our first kind of session in the afternoon where the men and women come together. So curious about that. So I'll let you know.